Welcome to Talk Tickers. Today, we're breaking down Palantir's latest earnings, and wow, to call it just a beat is a massive understatement. This was a monster quarter that completely flipped the script on the company and sent the stock soaring. Let's get right into it.
All right, so here's the game plan. We'll start with those eye-popping headline numbers. Then we're going to dig into what's really driving this crazy acceleration. We'll listen to what the top brass had to say, make sense of their new guidance, and then at the end, I'll give you our take, the next call, on where this stock is headed. Okay, first things first. Palantir didn't just squeak by the estimates. No, this was a statement. Management is calling this a demand inflection point, and believe me, the numbers absolutely scream it. Just look at that top-line number. Revenue came in at over $1.4 billion for the quarter. Now, you have to remember, Wall Street was looking for something around $1.34 billion. So right out of the gate, that's a huge beat. And this chart really puts that into perspective. That bar on the left, that's what Palantir actually delivered. The one on the right is what everyone thought they'd do. That gap, that's a $70 million surprise. In this environment, folks, that is an absolute blowout. So what does that revenue beat translate to? Well, how about this number? 70% year-over-year growth. Just let that sink in for a second. For a company of this size, that kind of acceleration is, well, it's wild. It's actually their highest growth rate ever as a public company. And it's not just about the last 3 months, right? It's about the future. Their pipeline, which they measure by something called total contract value, or TCV, it hit a record $4.3 billion. That is up a jaw-dropping 138% from last year. It's a huge sign that this momentum is for real. So the big question is, where did all this growth come from? Well, the answer is pretty simple. The U.S. business just hit hyperdrive. Overall, the U.S. business grew 93% year over year. I mean, that's incredible. And when you look inside, you see it's not just one thing. Both their government contracts and their commercial business are just firing on all cylinders. Let's break that down a little more. On the government side, you've got really strong 66% growth. That's great. But then, look at the commercial business. It exploded, 137% growth. That right there is the story of the quarter. That's what changed everything for Palantir. And management was crystal clear on the call. This is not a one-time thing. They pointed straight to their new artificial intelligence platform, they call it AIP, as the main driver. They're basically saying AIP has been a total game changer, getting customers to sign bigger deals and sign them way faster. You know, this confidence wasn't just in the numbers, it was all over the earnings call. The tone from the C-suite was super bullish, almost bombastic, you could say. And that started right from the top. CEO Alex Karp, he did not hold back. He basically said, "The numbers speak for themselves. We're in a category of our own." He used this phrase, an N of one, meaning there's nobody else doing what they're doing. And to prove his point, he threw out this number, 127. That's their Rule of 40 score. Now, if you follow software, you know this is a big deal. The rule is your growth rate plus your profit margin should be over 40. Well, theirs is 127. That's just unheard of. It shows they're growing like crazy and are incredibly profitable at the same time. The chief revenue officer jumped in on this too. He said customers aren't just dipping their toes in the water with AI anymore. They're jumping in head first, making huge multi-million-dollar commitments, with Palantir's platform at the very center of it all. Okay, so a great quarter is one thing, but Palantir didn't stop there. They came out with blockbuster guidance that just completely reset the bar for the entire year. Just look at these numbers. For the first quarter, their revenue guide is more than $200 million higher than what Wall Street was modeling. And for the full year, their forecast implies a 61% growth rate. I mean, they're not just raising the bar, they're launching it into a new orbit. And you have to understand, this was exactly what investors needed to hear. The stock had actually been getting beat up pretty bad leading into this report, so this whole print just acted as a massive reset button for the whole story. And the market's reaction? It was immediate, and it was loud. The stock shot up over 7% in after-hours trading, a very, very warm reception, to say the least. So, to recap, a blowout quarter, monster guidance. The only question left is what happens now? Where does the stock go from here? Let's get to our take. All right, this is the next call. What's the trade from here?
Okay, here it is, step by step. First, our prediction. We think this is just the beginning. We're expecting another beat and raise quarter in Q1. Why? Because that U.S. commercial momentum is real, and we see big government deals closing. Second, price action. We see a clear runway for the stock to go back and retest its all-time highs. The market is just now starting to price in this higher, more sustainable growth. And that leads to step 3, our rating. We are initiating coverage on Palantir with an outperform rating. And just as a final reminder, this analysis is for informational purposes only. It is not financial advice.